Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 5 Tips and Tricks for Careers in Athletics. I am your host, Dr. Maury Mosovitz, with my all-time most favorite, best of all time, anywhere co-host, Jen Albanese. Welcome back, Jen.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. Excited. Got a good one today.
Good one. We have Mr. Herm Frazier, an Olympian.
The one and only. The one and only.
Dedicated, not just Olympian, gold medalist.
Gold medalist.
The chef de mission, if you have not, I don't know if I'm saying that right or not. I like to say it that way, but
it's very fancy.
He ran the U.S. delegation when they were in Athens, which is pretty incredible. A seasoned, amazing collegiate administrator, was an AD at 2 different locations, has been, at the top of collegiate athletic administration for a long time, on top of continuously being involved with the Olympics all these years.
I know.
So just,
and we're
very fortunate.
We're so lucky and blessed that we get the opportunity to work with him every day.
I know.
And just learn so much from him, and he's just the best. So I'm excited. It'll be a good
everyone
conversation.
Gets like a special treat that we get all the time, which is nice. So
I know.
Okay.
Speaking of the Olympics,
here it goes.
Before we started recording, I was like, I wonder, we were going to talk about like what Olympic event we would compete in. Like, what do you think you would compete in, Maury? Like winter or summer, it doesn't matter, the Olympics.
I mean, I told you that I thought I'd be the guy with the clipboard keeping track of everything.
No.
Like I didn't, that would be my position at the Olympics.
Right. But like if I was in a perfect
competing,
world. Yeah. If you're competing.
I'm going to do one of each. So if I'm doing winter, I'd want to be one of the bobsledders, but I don't want to be either the guy in the back or the front. I just want to be the guy in the middle and ride down.
So you die either way, but like if you're in
the
middle.
You're in the middle. You don't have to start it. You don't have to stop it. Like you're perfect. You just put your head down and go. Like that's perfect for me. If I was going to do Summer Olympics, I think the trampoline. Like I want to see how high up I can go and do flips. I have no ability to do that. It just seems like something that would be the most interesting thing that I could do.
All right. Those seem very interesting. I don't know if, again, you could accomplish any of those, but
no. I mean, maybe the middle bobsled guy, if I could actually, but you have to run fast. Like actually Herm would probably be good as that
Herm
guy.
Would be phenomenal. I don't know what I would do. Like things that I would like to do. Like obviously when I was a kid, like in the winter, I wanted to be a figure skater. So I took ice skating when I was a kid. But now looking back, oh my God, can you imagine like doing jumps on the ice like that? The most pressure, stressful, nervous. No, I don't know if I could do it. But I feel like in the winter, probably figure skating. And then in the summer, I mean, I feel like gymnastics is like the coolest one. But again, like super competitive.
I mean, you have the height for it. You have the right stature.
Yes, I could do it. I'm super short. Balance, though, I'm not great at balancing. So that would, I guess I could be more like in the floor exercise. I feel like that'd be my area.
Rhythmic gymnastics.
Rhythmic gymnastics, yeah.
There you go.
There's just so many like cool sports that are now being
amazing
into the Olympics, and
and the fact that Herm like oversaw that when the U.S. went to Athens, and then like he talked about how they lived on cruise ships, and like he said so many amazing stories of what he's done.
Like walking in the opening ceremonies, like how cool that is. And
having security, meeting with like the FBI and the president, and like all these different things. It's just pretty incredible to like hear what he's done. And then I think at the same time when him and Floyd were racing each other in a foot race on who thought they'd be faster. If people know Floyd Little, like one of the best all-time football players at Syracuse, he was an administrator with us with Herm, and they're unfortunately Floyd passed away, but best of friends, and they would just chew at each other all day long, and they decided they were going to have a foot race to see who was faster. And I think Herm won, right?
I mean, he should. He won a gold medal in the track.
But Floyd was pretty fast. I mean, he was a running back, or like a
Hall of Famer.
Hall of Fame running back.
Hall of Famer. We got it. Yeah.
Yes.
That's too funny.
I always think about them together, like in the arena, like running a foot race. So
I know. Well, we gotta get with Herm, and we gotta be able to go to the Olympics at some point here in our lives.
LA. I know. Herm's taking us to LA. We'll try and get him out there. So
I know. Awesome.
We'll get him on here and talk about it. And please get and follow us after these messages.
Are you a loyal 5 Tips and Tricks podcast listener? If not, now is the time to start. Get all your info and fun content on the podcast by following us on all our social channels at @AthCareerPod. The 5 Tips and Tricks podcast is a part of Athletic Career Consulting. Make sure to reach out to us. The one-stop shop for everything is our website, www.athcareer.com. Remember, follow and like us on @AthCareerPod, rate and review us, and get all your info at www.athcareer.com. Okay, everybody, welcome back. Maury, would you like to introduce our guest?
I'm really excited about this one. An Olympic gold medalist sprinter, a leader in U.S. Olympic movement, and a college athletic administrator. Today's guest has truly run the gamut as a pinnacle of sports. A native of Philadelphia and All-American in track at ASU, he was the leadoff runner for the 1976 Olympic gold medal winning 4x400 relay team. From 1980 through 2004, he served at various United States Olympic committees, including 2 terms as the U.S. Olympic Committee Vice President from 1996 to 2004. In 2004, he was named chef de mission for the U.S. delegation at the Athens Olympics, where he presided over the most successful U.S. Olympic team in history, as the Americans won 103 medals. Along with his Olympic background, he's boasted more than 40 years of experience in athletic administration in college, including 8 years as athletic director and serving on numerous institutional and NCAA committees. He has received many awards for his work, including the NACDA Pioneer Award. I'm very happy to have a man I'm proud to call a friend and mentor, Herm Frazier, to the podcast. Welcome, Herm.
Hi, Herm.
Hey, what's going on, Jen and Maury? It's really nice to be with you guys today.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Maury, you forgot to mention we also share a birthday, Herm and I.
You do share a birthday with Herm.
We're the same age, right, Herm? We're the same age.
I think I'm a little bit younger, I think, if somebody were to actually do an audit on our birthday.
Well, I wouldn't want to share it with anyone else but you, let me tell you. It's a pleasure, sir.
The yearly Herm Jen birthday extravaganza that we have going on through the office.
Absolutely. Thank you for doing this, Herm. We appreciate it.
I also like how Herm has to fly all the way to California for us to record a podcast with him, because we can see him, but he's actually in California doing this, which I think is my favorite part of this.
Well, originally I was not supposed to be here, as both of you know,
Yeah.
but I'm one of those guys that's pretty flexible, and the way I control my schedule, and obviously with modern technology, you can do all sorts of things and be anywhere. And so not only am I with you guys this evening, but tomorrow I have to get up early. I have a Zoom with Delta Airlines to talk about the future of our football travel, followed by a 2 back-to-back Zooms with the Syracuse Stage Executive Committee and also their Finance Committee. So
your favorite
you don't
things.
have to always
Your
be
favorite
in Syracuse.
things.
Your
Your favorite things.
You're, as my nickname for you, the commissioner, and the commissioner jumps into anything he's needed for. So we're very happy to have you here, and we're glad that you're getting a chance to do this with us. So thank you. And with that, why don't you give us your first tip?
Well, it's interesting because obviously both of you know I have been involved in collegiate athletics a long time. But more importantly, I was afforded this opportunity when I was a very young person. And so to be appointed as the assistant athletic director in charge of events and facilities at my alma mater, Arizona State University, when I was only 23 years old, the first tip I learned, and the first tip that I would give anybody in this business, is learn how to listen. Learn how to listen. You do not know everything. And when you start out right away, you got to learn how to listen. Now, everybody's going to give you different types of advice. However, you've got to take everything in and then let come back out of your mouth and absorb within your mind all the things that you think are going to be beneficial to you as you pursue any career, not just athletics, but any career whatsoever.
Yeah, you've definitely imparted that on me. Sometimes you look at me and go, slow down, Just listen to it a second.
Correct.
You gotta think through it. You gotta give him a second. And I always appreciate that you're always pondering any question that's given. So definitely for those people that are younger that just want to jump on it and get to the answer right away, slow down, listen, hear what the person has to say.
No question, because, we all come into this with some kind of expectations. But more importantly, I think you're going to get ahead in life if you're able to listen and then digest what it is that the specific topic is, and then you go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when you're younger, I think you feel like you need to speak up and say what you feel or like give your opinion. And that's okay. I mean, people want to hear your opinion, but it's always good to kind of like hear what everybody has to say and then develop a response that's a little more understanding for everybody, because you feel like you got to talk so fast. I do that all the time. And listening is a skill that I don't think people realize is such a valuable thing. You're really in any industry, but especially in athletics.
No question.
So that's a good one.
I think it's interesting because we'll be at meetings and certain people won't say anything, but they always will turn to you and say, well, Herm, what do you think about it? Instead of them having to feel like you have to fill the space and answer it all the time. So you definitely know that when you get to that point, somebody knows that you're pondering it, you're giving your absolute thoughts on it.
Well, no question, which actually, and since you guys haven't asked me yet, I'm going to go right into my second tip.
There you go.
And that second
why he's
tip
the professional right here.
is communication. Okay, you have to have great communication skills, and more importantly, you have to have those skills amongst the people that you're working with all the time. Now, one of the things that I always deal with is what makes an effective communicator. And so I was recently in the middle of something in the office whereby a meeting was called by two of my colleagues. And those two colleagues had actually invited somebody else to be in the meeting who was not one of our employees. And so the fact of the matter is, those two colleagues should have had a meeting with me for us to discuss this issue, for us to be able to communicate to one another, and for us to also understand what I'm thinking. And once I found out that the other person was involved, I canceled the meeting.
Right.
Because you never let anybody else know what you're thinking. Now, here's where I tell them my age. One of the places that I heard that more effectively than anywhere else was in the Godfather movie. In the Godfather movie, they were sitting down at the table one day, and Sonny, the oldest son, was about to tell somebody from one of the other family members his thought. And the Godfather, after the conclusion of that meeting, he picked up his hat and he popped Sonny in the head. And he says, you never let anybody know what you're thinking, especially outside the family. And that's exactly how I felt when the colleagues wanted somebody else to be in on this meeting, because they had presented me with a document that they wanted me to opine on, but I'm not going to do that in front of somebody else without fleshing it out with the two of you people. So communication is very effective. And then, as you guys know, I mean, this is on, you're having your podcast, but this also happens to be the day that our football schedule is coming out in about 18 minutes. Yeah. And so, again, from a communication standpoint of view, there's people who have to be involved in a lot of surrounding things with that particular schedule. But again, you have to have communication. There's been some emails going back and forth between a few of us, and I told them my opinion, and some people listened, some people didn't, but we'll just see what happens when it all shakes out.
So we're talking about communication, and you've kind of been the gamut and seen different things. Like, when do you decide, okay, it's worth calling a person, writing an email to them, like what, or saying, hey, come into my office? Because you're pretty effective about saying, okay, let me find the right way to deliver the message and like bring it into somebody? Because I feel like that's such a strength of yours. So how do you make those decisions?
Well, first of all, a lot of times some of the decisions I make are not popular. And so you have to find a way to communicate that to whomever the other person is or the group of people with the least amount of hurt feelings that you could possibly do.
Yeah.
And I think you build up rapport with people so that they believe in you, so that when you do have to have that communication that is sometimes something they don't want to hear, that they at least know you thought about it and you're not being a jerk about it.
Right.
Okay. Because I can be a jerk too, but not necessarily. I try to find some common ground before I get to the final decision or whatever. But you got to do the news. I mean, as both of you know, I deal a lot with HR, and in that capacity, sometimes you have to communicate things that are not good. However, you can do it in a way that at least the people on the other side can understand it and feel as though they got a good shake, and that you listen to them and it worked out.
Yeah, I was gonna say, for me, a lot of times it feels like you come back to the listening part of like, people know if you're involved that it wasn't a rush decision, that like you thought through it. And I think a lot of people feel like, okay, I don't need to plead my case because I think Herm probably thought through all these different things a little bit more than someone that might just be more willing to just kind of fire questions and be kind of more in their face about it.
Correct.
I feel like with you too, Herm, like it's always like an in-person meeting. Like you give people and I know that that's sometimes not popular with people, but it gives you the chance to be face to face with somebody, and you give them that time and that opportunity to talk to you. And a lot of people just like, again, hide behind an email or,
exactly right.
And I think the face to face communication, while sometimes that's the hardest part, that's the most effective. And you feel the most like, again, we might not agree on something, or you tell me something I don't want to hear, but I'm like, at least he gave me the time of day. I got to go to his office. We talked it through. I expressed my opinion. He told me the decision, and at least it was a face-to-face conversation.
You feel heard.
You feel like, you feel heard. You feel respected. It's not, like I said, hidden behind an email or a text or something that, isn't as professional. So I think that's great.
Well, you're exactly right, Jen. I don't believe in the email/cell phone method. Yeah. I believe if I've got to give you news, be it good or bad, I'm going to tell you to your face.
Right.
Now, what that means is you may walk out of my office very, very disappointed, but that's okay, because I personally feel good in my own skin in that I'm going to tell you exactly what it is, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it.
Right.
But I'm going to find a way to deliver the message as to what reality is.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's
okay,
communication.
Herm.
Communication right there.
Great. Number 3, what do you got for your third tip or trick?
This is an interesting one. It's really being humble. There are so many people, and this happened a lot of time with coaches, where they have success, and then the next thing you know, they forget where they come from. And all of a sudden, they're not as humble as they should be, because sometimes they think that they accomplish all those goals by themselves. And over my years, I've seen and been involved with a lot of coaches. I would say high-profile coaches in sports of football and basketball. I would say coaches in Olympic sports who won national championships in golf. When I was at Arizona State, I think during my tenure there, we won national championship in wrestling, national championship in men's gymnastics, national championship in track and field, several national championships in men's and women's swimming, national championships in badminton and archery, and men's and women's golf. So I've seen what it can do and what happens when you truly support the sports. But through all those, I can tell you a lot of those coaches forgot what helped them achieve those goals and be successful. And I just wish everybody would take a step back when you have that success and realize, um, golf coach, well, you had a golf course right across the street from the athletic facility. You had a camp that you were able to utilize the golf facility for free. So back in the 80s and 90s, you were making $50,000 in camp money off of your golf course there.
Wow.
You were also getting paid $1,500 a month as a consultant to the golf course. So those are the things, a lot of that helped make you successful, coach. So don't forget that, and thank the staff that put on your tournament. See, the one thing about golf is you only host one tournament a year.
Yeah.
On the men's side and one on the women's side.
Yeah.
Okay? Because all you do is travel.
Right.
And you travel in the fall and you travel in the spring so that you could get all your competitions in. And when we used to have to talk to the faculty athletic reps and also the faculty senate, they would always flag us because golf travels so much.
Right.
But that's because they only have one home contest.
Right.
And to put on that home contest, Maureen, you could understand this. You're bringing in the top 25 teams in the country.
Yeah.
And a lot of my colleagues are writing me, Herm, can you get me in your tournament?
Right.
Can you tell your coach to get me in your tournament? Because they know that's going to be the creme de la creme, and you're just going to have great competition. And so I've witnessed a lot of that. I was a victim of some of that too. When I was in Hawaii, we had a great football program. But at the end of it, when the coach was so good, he thought he was bigger than the institution.
Yeah.
And so therefore, he thought he can go get more money somewhere else. Well, go get it. Because I knew Hawaii didn't have any more
Right.
to give. And at the time, and it was public, we were paying the coach $400,000 from the state and the university, and then we were raising another $400,000 for $800,000 a salary for him. And you're talking that was between 2000. No, I got to 2002, and when we sunsetted, it was 2008. Well, they wanted a 1.2 million. Well, we didn't have it.
Right.
Didn't have it.
Yeah.
So I would say there, you stay humble, understand what got you there, what helped you, and maybe you could take this segment of the podcast and take it out and play it at one of our Olympic coaches meetings, or maybe they'll understand. But that's why stuff like that doesn't get me riled up,
Right.
because I've seen so much, and I'm probably towards the end of my career. And so the older you get, you just kind of laugh at some of it because you've seen it all.
I kind of laugh sometimes because I feel like also there's people who are gotten big jobs as administrators for the first time, and they feel like they have to test out like what their authority is, or to prove that they kind of have this place. And it's kind of that same thing as sometimes what happens with coaches that have been really successful, is like they're going to push the limit of what they can do with it, and it never seems to work out in their favor. I feel like now I've been around long enough, but I've always looked at certain people. You are one of them. There's some other ones that are out there that they don't need to pretend like they're administrators or that they're good coaches. They just need to be themselves. And that's
exactly
that's what proves what they are. And so the ones that are just who they are and are genuine and are out there doing their jobs, there's a respect that's so different, and also just a way of operating that's just so more, at ease and so much more natural.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I think what you said about like thanking the staff and the people that help you get there too, that is so impactful to the people that are actually doing the work. And then you want to do more for those coaches or administrators.
No question.
You know what I mean? Like the coaches that are so appreciative. Oh my gosh, you went like above and beyond, and how like and they're not saying it just like being fake. They're actually
I
genuine.
was just gonna say that's not after they yell at you and then they're coming back to thank you.
No, but it's like
it's
it's genuine, and then you feel like, hey, I want to do more for that person. I want to do more for that program, regardless of if they're successful or not, because they're actually genuine and appreciate the hard work that you're putting in. And I feel like that goes such a long way.
Yep, you're exactly right.
Yeah, building that team within a team, wanting to get the rest of the department and everybody else around you because you've built a relationship with them that you can believe in your vision and what you're doing because you see who that person is. So, no, it's awesome.
And we created a culture too because the coaches learned and they appreciated the staff going forward.
Yeah.
Right.
And so it really worked out. And so the Office of Marketing and the Office of Events and Facilities and everybody, we all got along and everybody understood it. And that's how we created the atmosphere. Now, the other thing that helped, and we're so somewhat disjointed at Syracuse, we were all under one roof.
Yeah.
Because our building went up.
Yeah.
And so when we designed that building, we had 90,000 square feet originally of office space, and then we added another 45,000. And so during that time, Jen, you would see, and Maureen, you would see everybody, all the coaches,
and all the
people
time,
every day.
Yeah.
Because you had to get on the elevator and you had to see them and all this stuff. And so now history has hurt because Arizona State, a couple of years ago, after the pandemic, got in trouble because they built a new football building and they were all in a separate building.
Yeah.
Football was taken away from everybody else. And then they ended up with NCAA infractions.
Yeah.
It's been something, we talked about when we were doing our planning is to try and do as much as we can to get everybody under one roof, which has been nice. And it's been kind of nicer, even though we're building on to what we have, we're trying to keep everyone together as much as possible. So awesome.
Well, what helps us is it's all connected.
Yeah.
And so where you do, and for me, in my office, to be able to go out into the academic area and see all the football guys all the time. I don't see basketball as much anymore since I don't have direct oversight, even though I'm with them now, but I'm still around those kids.
Well, it's nice too with the administrator when you're kind of right in the middle of everything because you either go towards football, you go towards basketball, Olympic sports are straight ahead. I feel like positioned really well to kind of be in the middle of everybody.
Everybody knows where your office
Everyone knows
are.
how to get to your office, though, so it's fine.
That's not always good.
That's not always a good thing. My office, on the other hand, nobody knows how to get there, so it's fine.
Under the stairs.
That's going to change. That's going to change.
Coming soon.
Be careful.
Careful what you wish for.
No,
okay,
right?
number 4.
Number 4, and you're going to love this one. And number 4, we kind of talked about it a little bit. And it's giving back to the profession and giving back to young people who want to be involved in the profession. It kind of goes back to what you guys just said, how everybody knows where my office is. You would be shocked to know during the course of a year how many people want to come in and pick my brain or discuss different things, be it bowl games, be it Olympics, be it USA track and field, all these different things. And again, I've been fortunate to have worn so many hats and understand so many things about sport that I think I do have the knowledge to help people who are involved in this profession or who want to get involved in this profession. As long as I think you are a sincere person and you want to do it the right way, I will find time to talk to you and hopefully provide information that could help you later on. But the one thing I will not do, though, is I won't sit down and deal with BS. I mean, if somebody's not serious,
right,
and if you're not committed, and if you don't want to do the work, then don't waste my time.
Right. Be engaged, be ready to go, because it's it's a worthwhile experience. As one of the people that have come in and asked many questions before, it's a worthwhile take advantage of all of it.
Yeah.
Correct. And, and again, I attribute that to my parents and the way they brought me up. And obviously, since I was in the position financially and all my friends encouraged me, when I received the NCAA Silver Anniversary Award back in 2002 for accomplishments after you've graduated from college, is when we created the Herm Frazier Scholarship in Political Science at Arizona State, which is given out every year. And what's so great about that Silver Anniversary Award is I am the only recipient, believe it or not, of all the athletes who've gone through that institution to have received it. And I think both of you guys know this, but you may not know this. At Syracuse, the person who received that same award is one Floyd Little.
Little, yeah.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Our buddy.
Yeah.
We love
our buddy Floyd.
So,
yeah.
So that, and that's
cool,
another
that's
thing
a cool coincidence there. That's really cool.
That's another bond
really
between
cool.
the two of us, which is incredible to receive that award.
Yeah.
Oh, Miss Floyd.
Awesome. I know.
Okay.
All right,
Jen,
the big
last
one.
Big
now,
question.
I feel like just to preface this, Herm has a lot of good stories, and I feel like there's one coming here. But the last one, Herm, what do you know now that you wish you knew then? So, what do you know now that you wish you knew when you first started in this business?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Because I've just been exposed to so much.
Yeah.
That. I know a lot now compared to when I started, but I didn't come in and tick people off or piss people off or anything. I mean, except I did go to one established coach who, because you got to understand when I first started, I went right from being a graduate assistant track coach to an assistant athletic director. Okay. But I was also still running.
I was going to say, you were competing still, right?
Still competing. So I was leaving the athletics director, Dr. Fred Miller, God rest his soul, he passed away a few years ago. My situation was I could come to work every day at 7:30, but then I could get off at 3:00 and go train on the track.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
And then I would come back and go back in the office and check. Didn't have emails. Then I go back and check phone messages and maybe work a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Okay. And then that was the day. But we had baseball games going on. We had all sorts of things going on. But I had enough staff members that I didn't have to work.
Yeah.
But what I did learn was right away, even though it was 100 degrees, because I started in like March of 1979, right away, one of the first things I did was put on a long sleeve starch shirt and a tie when I went to work.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to set the tone for the coaches to know I'm not the young guy you see in the singlet and the shorts. And one of the coaches, he came after me and I sat him down and I said, "I'm tell you something, coach. I could screw up all of your events. I could make sure the apparatus is not correct.
Right.
I could make sure your events start late, but I'm not going to put up with your BS and have you try to bully me."
Right.
And so I learned early on to establish my ground.
I wish that's something that I learned early, because I came out of being a manager at SU, and I feel like a lot of people looked at me for many years as still the guy that was the manager and not the guy that was in the role. And, clearly I don't think people look at me that way anymore. Most people, when I was a manager, aren't still even around at SU. So a lot of them don't even know, but
you understand exactly what I'm saying.
I 100% understand and wish that I heard this tip and said to myself, I'm going to present myself in a way that makes it clear that I'm in a different role than what you saw me as.
Oh, I definitely think that happens when you're young in this industry. I mean, I'll say the same for me. They looked at me like the kid. I mean, like I was the little kid, like I was the younger kid in the block, and that they could push me around and whatever, they wanted me to do, I was going to do. So I think that's something for young people to think about now. But there's a fine line between like establishing your boundaries and your ground and being like over the top. So you got to like find that middle ground to like establish yourself in a way that like, I'm here, I'm serious, I'm professional. Like you said, even the fact of the way you dress, like you put on
I was thinking about that. Like you need to be really cognizant of that,
right.
and that too, like in today's world, that goes out the window because everything from work from home and the pandemic, everybody just wears, joggers and a t-shirt to work. And you're like, wait, what? Like when I have meetings and stuff, I'm like in dresses and people in my office are like, oh, what do you got going on today?
I know.
Like, something important. I'm like, just felt like wearing a dress, but so I think that's really, really good to hear, especially for young people, because again, you do feel like you're the kid. I definitely felt like that for a while. Maybe it was after I had kids and they really couldn't think of me as kids anymore, but I definitely felt that. Wow.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
Well, Herm, thank you so much for doing this. We couldn't be more excited that you agreed to do it. When you said yes, Jen and I were thrilled. And so we're really happy that you're on and can share your wisdom that you share with us all the time with everybody else. So thank you for your time.
I always tell him he's big time, Olympic gold medalist here. It's a big deal
I
for
don't
all
know.
of us.
So you'll get my bill in the mail.
Thank you.
I knew it. I knew that's what he was going to say.
We'll reconcile it later.
Hey guys, well, seriously, it's been my pleasure. I'm so happy that you two guys are doing this, and hopefully I gave you some information that you can utilize, or people who listen to your podcast can utilize within their professional careers and or in their lives.
Well,
Absolutely.
Thank you, Herm, definitely. And Jen, throw out so everyone knows how to get in contact with us if they want to keep following us in the podcast.
So just make sure you follow us on all of our socials at Ath Career Pod on Instagram and X and TikTok and Facebook and LinkedIn. And you can get all of the updates there on upcoming episodes. But yeah, thank you, Herm. This is so great. You're such a role model and has had so much impact on the two of us. So this means a lot that you did this, and we appreciate it. And we love you. So
okay, all right, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
If you like the 5 Tips and Tricks podcast, make sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. You can rate and review us, including questions that may be answered on future episodes. The 5 Tips and Tricks podcast for careers in athletics is part of Athletic Career Consulting. Check us out at www.athcareer.com. Don't forget to follow and like us on your top social media platforms.